loves, Caroline Rena here on the ride of my life, and it continues. So I've learned that when we open up to new things in our lives, it's almost like we get tested to see if we've learned our lesson or if we're ready. I don't know what it is, but so I've talked about this thing with the email I got from the insurance company at the end of 2021 that helped me to realize that I needed to get into heal my nervous system. And I had been doing cognitive therapy for most of my life, at least since I was 4 when my parents were going through a divorce, or 6, sorry, I don't know, I can't remember that far back. Anyway, so with cognitive therapy, it helped me to understand what was going on. And this is nothing against cognitive therapy. It's part of the process. It's not the only process that, for me, that I've discovered. I went through that for years. And then when I got that email from the insurance company, and I'd been going through and understanding what was happening. And then one day, the insurance mail came in, and my insurance rates after I bought my car, that they went up like $200 a month. And I'm thinking, okay, something's wrong here. I didn't think that way the way I would think about it right now. I thought about it where, oh my God, the earth is just crashing in on me. And I start walking. I was actually at a friend's house, and I'm like walking around going, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm watching myself do it, but I can't keep my body from like pacing, and like I don't know what to do. You know, all these things were going on, and my friend held my space for me at that point and was like, just hold on, let's see what's going on. I was on the phone with them, with the insurance company, to find out, and I allowed myself to just take a breath and just kind of slow down the pacing. And what I recognized was that I personally, and I know there's a lot of people out there who do this, put meaning into this that was not there. Because of all of my experiences with money and scarcity and lack and all this stuff that I had learned growing up, it crashed on me in that moment. And what I discovered was that I questioned myself, and I was like, why is this happening like this? Why is my body still reacting to this email when I actually feel safe in the moment where I was and in general? So I was like, okay, this is weird. So I started looking into that, and that is actually what led me into driving across the country last year and doing the Ride of My Life podcast, and, you know, working through the traumas in my nervous system with a couple of friends of mine, and the retreat I went on, the peace retreat that I went on north of Asheville, North Carolina. And it was such a powerful experience for me, and it scared the crap out of me. So I'm like driving by myself from Florida to West Virginia, back down to Florida, up to North Carolina, north of Charlotte, then to Asheville for 4 days for the retreat, the peace retreat, out in the woods, out in the mountains. And then from there, I went to Kentucky and stayed with a friend there. And then I moved on to Oklahoma, didn't stay long there that time. And then I ended up in Colorado Springs with my friend. Shout out to Valerie. Mwah, love you. That was huge. She's amazing with the work she does. And we kind of co-coached each other, I guess, we helped each other walk through a couple of things and learned about each other and how to work with each other. And it was very inspiring. And I was also in this process of moving from working on my inner little girl to my inner teenager popped up, and she was mad as hell because she was the one who had to protect my inner little girl from me. And I found that out, and I was like, if this doesn't make sense to you, that's fine. You know, I can answer questions, or you can look it up, whatever you choose. And here's the thing. Once my inner teenager came out and I started connecting with her, that's when things began to shift. At the beginning of the next deep dive into my nervous system. After that, I stayed there for about 11 weeks. And from there, I drove back to Oklahoma and stayed for maybe a little over a month with another friend of mine. And that's Deborah. Shout out to Deborah. Love you. And that was a very interesting experience for me because I started to recognize some of my behaviors, and I still kind of didn't know what to do with them. After I left there, I continued my drive through, again, I stopped, did I stop in Kentucky? I think I stopped in Kentucky again. And then I stopped in Arkansas at this really cool place that's on Hip Camp, and I can't remember it, I'm sorry. But it's in one of my videos. I did a video on it, and like an interview with the guy who owns it. And then I stayed with a friend in Georgia on my way back down to Florida, and then I came down to the West Coast and stayed for a couple of weeks with someone I know who's down there, and I had some more experiences of releasing and letting go. So it kept coming up, this release, let go, recognize, release, let go. It was like, it was crazy. Anyway, it was just a lot of that coming up. It was like people were leaving my life that apparently were not supposed to be in my life. And so I got to the point where, for me, interestingly enough, like I used to dissociate. I could not regulate myself. Most people who have been traumatized get dysregulated. For me, it took other people who were already regulated, who could like calm me down, basically, to help me energetically get out of that dysregulation. I haven't dissociated actually in about 2-3 years, I think. Not to the depth that I was doing, and I don't do it at all now, but the depth I was doing 3 years ago was pretty deep, and that's a whole nother conversation that I'd like to have also about what it feels like to dissociate and how I did that, but we'll see what happens. Being back in Florida since last September, I've had a great many shifts, and it came to the point where yesterday, I'll just jump right into yesterday. So yesterday morning, I had another similar experience universe brought to me where I felt like I was taken advantage, and I haven't had that happen in a long time. And basically, I'm not going to get into the story. It's not about the story, it's about my response to it. And so what happened was, I woke up in the morning, and initially I could not even meditate because my nervous system kicked in, and I knew what it was doing. And so I paid attention and watched for a few minutes. And I went to the bathroom, I walked around the house a little bit, I did a couple of things, which I don't normally do that before I meditate. I'll just go right into meditation. And when I did that, it gave me the opportunity to go ahead and meditate. And so I listened to this incredible meditation by this man named David G, Davidji. He's been doing his work for many, 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 many years, and it's helpful to listen to him because he's got a very soothing voice. So anyway, I started listening to him, and I could feel my nervous system start to relax. I was like, well, this is cool, because usually in the past, when something like that would have happened, that would have been like a 2-3 hour event for me. Like, I'd try to find ways, and I wouldn't do what was good for me, and I wouldn't go out and walk, and I wouldn't, I just would let whatever was happening happen. So as a result, I came back to myself. I recognized what was going on. I did reach out to a couple of friends of mine to guide me through how I could be the spiritual warrior within myself in a loving way to let this person know what was going on, and to admit my part in it, and to give the solution. And I was like, oh, okay. So there are ways to do this. What I'm noticing is when you come up against something like this and you don't know what to do with it, if your nervous system, if you've got complex PTSD or any types of trauma in general, or you're highly sensitive or whatever, and you don't know what to do with it, you get to make the choice to heal that so you can step in and step out. I have something real quick that I want to share with you. I was once watching, I don't remember how long ago it was, Louise Hay, who died a couple years ago, I think. I'm not exactly sure when. And I think she was about 92 when she died, but she said something really profound. That her whole life she was working on herself. And she got to the point where she's like, well, after doing all that work, now I can step in the shit and step back out quickly. Where for me, as well as I'm sure her, because that really resonated with me, it was like, I used to step in the shit and it lasted for 3 months. This was 20 years ago. And then little by little, as I continued to do my work, continued to heal myself, it lessened and lessened and lessened. And yesterday was a hallmark for me. So it lessened to the point where it literally took me a half an hour to regulate my nervous system again. And I was so proud of myself and so excited that that was going on. And if you've been traumatized, and you know what I mean about how, getting into this, sorry for the shaking, getting into this state is like, and then you don't feel like you can get out of it, and the anxiety and everything just pumps up in your body, and you're going to fight or flight, and it's just insane. And people tell you to relax, especially when you're highly sensitive, and that doesn't work. And especially when you've been traumatized, and that doesn't work unless you've done the work. I just want to share that with you because this was an experience for me that I literally didn't have happen in this way until yesterday. And I'm so grateful. And I think that's about all I want to share about this. I really hope that you're taking this stuff in, and that you are resonating with what I'm saying. And if you are, I've got links and stuff in my description below if you want to reach out. And then, okay, so I'm panting, and I think I'm going to stop now. But I just want to say peace and have a beautiful day. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so these videos can get out to more people. All right, thank you so much. Take care.